Liana, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Doing great. So to start, I loved season one of the show. So when season two started, I was like, great, we're off to the races. But I do love that you get to have what I think is very, very girl in the 21st century coded, which is she is dating a serial killer and is like, and knows it and is like, yeah, but he's reformed. And I feel like
Yep.
that is very like why so many of us are obsessed with serial killers. When you're playing a character like that, like how much fun is it for you to like think like, yeah, this girl would somehow think she's safe with a raging misogynist who kills women for sport, essentially.
I know. Isn't it so like weirdly stereotypical sometimes? It's funny. The other day, this sweet girl came up to me who'd watched the show and she gave me a friendship bracelet and it said, "Maybe I can fix him." And I was like, yes, that's exactly it. But there is definitely some kind of psychological Freudian thing happening with Tori where something happened or something, there was some sort of dynamic in her childhood that I think draws her to Matt. Um, and I think that she has a lot of hope in him, and also her life depends on it. She's with the guy and she's connected to him, and if he does relapse, she's dead. So I think she's very much hoping that he succeeds in his sobriety.
Yeah, Tori is like the definition of a negative, but daddy, I love him, like the Little Mermaid quote where she's like, but I love him. And you're like, girl,
I
no.
know. I know. I feel like Taylor Swift could write a whole album on Tori's experience.
Oh, it would be such a good album. But I do love Tori and Matt in the beginning of this season because it's she is very clearly in love and he is a changed man. But it's just so funny to watch because it's like I was talking to Annie and I said when Matt gives Nathan advice, I'm like, yeah, you should defend yourself, but also don't listen to a misogynist telling you to like stand up against people. Bad idea. But in a show that has all those layers and has all of these kind of like the audience has to react to what's happening and the characters don't necessarily get to, is it fun for you to watch the show back after and pick up on things that like Tori herself wouldn't, but you as Liana would?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that I intentionally ignored a lot of the calculations that Tom Bateman was applying to his performance because
Mhm.
that obviously wouldn't cater to my performance. And, I think Tori is a bit, blind to who she's with. And she's very much in love. And so yeah, definitely going back and watching, also watching other scenes too. There was so much that I wasn't a part of, so I got to sort of watch it with fresh eyes. And you'd hear Tom talk about his preparation as Matt, but it was cool to see it actually on screen and watch it evolve. It was really cool.
Yeah, and I do want to ask because I love, these sisters are basically guilting each other into doing what the other one wants them to do anyway. With a, well, you're never going to make friends, you're never going to go to law school, and then they both go and do the thing that they said they wouldn't. When you have like that sister dynamic and you have the guilt trips that come with being siblings, was it how much fun was it to get to play in that with Kaylee and like understand how these two aren't like a mother and daughter, but are do have their sisterly moments.
Honestly, it was quite effortless. I mean, Kaylee is such a joy and a wonderful scene partner. And she comes on set and she just sort of sets a tone and very much assumed the position of big sister even just in my life. And so getting to do that on set with her felt very easy. And she's so playful. Like, I mean, the stuff that comes out of her mouth, like so much of our scenes together is her just, I mean, we would do a take and then she'd like run off and she'd go talk to Annie and be like, what do you think about this line? And then they'd like play around and then she'd come back and we'd start rolling and then she'd throw like a complete curveball at me while we were filming. And so everything felt very fresh and very exciting and she was down. I think that's a great way to explain Kaylee. Like she is down to play.
Mhm. I love watching this show because it reminds me, I love Patrick Bateman, and that reminds me so much of just Patrick Bateman. So I'm like, this is great. But thank you so much for talking with me today. And I can't wait for everyone to get to see season 2.